Once I hit the advanced options button, you see again, it pulls over all of the motion profiles over to the other page. You see the icons look a little bit different. The page layout is a little bit different. You now see that you've got the ability to edit and delete loads. Functionality on this page is pretty straightforward for those of you that have used the old software where you can add your velocity profile. When you go to add velocity profile, you will see on the left-hand side, instead of 2 moves, we now have 3 different types of moves. So we can make a trapezoid move, which is our standard move. You can do a triangle move. And now for a lot of the folks that were building segments out manually, we now have a press move. So for a trapezoid move, again, I want to move 4 inches. Let's just say I'm going to move 2. And now I have the ability to say that I want to make the move by time, or I can make the move by velocity. So I can make this in 2 seconds, or I can say that I want to do it at 2 inches per second. So if I do 2 inches per second, it's going to build out my profile. I can always switch back and I can say that I want to do this in time. So I want to say I want to do it in 2 seconds, and it's going to automatically rescale. In the event you want to do a distance at constant velocity, you can click this radio button here at the bottom, and then it's going to tell you what your distance at constant velocity is going to be. Maybe I want to do that in 0.5, and it's going to automatically change. Since I have loads pre-populated, I've got the ability to assign loads and forces right in this screen, or I can assign loads and forces to segments once we add those at a later time. If I want to do a triangle move, you can see that it just breaks up the acceleration, deceleration, and distance into equal parts. Very straightforward, not a lot of flexibility, but you can, again, say that you want to do this by speed, and it'll change it automatically, or you can do it by time, and it'll automatically rescale. For press moves, this is a little bit different than what many people have seen. So now we're going to do basically what's called an approach move. So let's say I want to approach the press, and that's going to be a 2-inch move. My press distance, let's say that's going to be 1/4 of an inch. I want to approach in 1 second, and I want to press at 1/2 inch a second. I've got the flexibility to be able to select all of that. And the software, rather than decelerating to 0 and then doing a secondary acceleration, which is not representative of how a press move would typically work in a lot of instances, we actually just decelerate to the velocity. We calculate out what those rates are, and then we calculate out the new trap move. So I'm going to accept that. And so what you can see is it automatically puts it at the back. Now for loads and forces, we did this a little bit differently, where in the past you could only assign it to the entire motion profile or the segment by which you created it. Now in version 3.0, you've got the ability to assign loads and forces to an entire profile, or you've got the ability to assign a load and force to just a segment. You can see with profile number 1, we've got segments 1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, 3. So I could assign my tooling load to just this segment or all of my segments. How that's going to relate to a press move is now I've got segment 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, my press force is only going to be used in segments 4 and 5. So I can say I want to assign it right here, and I can assign it right here. So now I've effectively assigned my force just to that press move. If I go into the force down in the loads and forces, you can see I can add my guides. I've got the 500 pounds, and I can scroll and I can select any set of segments that I choose to apply my tooling. You also have the ability to do an FY or an FZ. So if you're going to be pressing from the side, say for like a GSA or something like that, you can. And then you also have the ability to do your distance offsets. Now let's say I wanted to put the press move at the beginning. The new software will allow us to hover where you get the hand, and then you can click and drag. And now you can drag that profile up, and then you can drag this profile down, and you can see that the software automatically restructures everything. So if you want to move dwells, if you want to do copies and paste, which we'll show you in a second, you can just copy and paste, and then you can drag them around to wherever you'd like to go. So I'll demonstrate that now. So let's say I want to create a copy of this press move. So I can copy that, and then I can paste. 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 So now I've got all these different moves, but I can move this one up here. I can move this down here, and it's going to automatically restructure the motion profiles based on where you want to go. So that's really nice when you're trying to simulate high frequency moves with varying loads, or you just want to be a little bit more accurate in your replication of the application. You can do that. So then if I don't want all of these, I can go in and I can remove my copies. You can go in and rename them. Can even get rid of the press move. And then I can put this guy back up to here, and we've now effectively reset ourselves to where we were. So very, very user-friendly, very, very functional in that respects. Your loads, similar to the old software, where you can put your name, put in your amount, whether it's going to be completely or partially supported by the actuator, and whether or not you're going to have guides for deflection. And as with the forces, you can go in and choose whether or not you want to apply it to the entire motion profile or just a segment. Same would apply to dwells. So you've got full flexibility of how to assign, and then it's going to indicate in each chart where it's applied, and then in the motion profile it'll tell you which loads and forces are being applied as well to give you reference. The graphing engine also has a little bit of usability where you can now hover over each one of the balls at the end of the motion profile, and it will tell you the time that you are at and the velocity you are at. So kind of nice to keep a sense of where you're at in replicating your motion profiles. Again, if I go to metric, all of my values automatically convert over to metric. So that if I want to go in and edit this, now we're in newtons, and any offsets would be in millimeters. So this is easy for somebody to go in and flip back and forth, use the units that are provided or are most comfortable, and continue moving forward without having to worry about any conversions. We're going to do that for you.